episode 135 of the WaveBack Music Podcast. My name is Kris.
And I'm Matt.
And we're here to listen to the most interesting video game music there is. When the Super NES launched, it had its work cut out for it. Fortunately, Nintendo brought their A-game with a small but incredibly memorable launch lineup, including a futuristic racing game that left a Mode 7-shaped impression on gamers everywhere. Don't touch those sides, because tonight we listen to the music of F-Zero for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Well, hello, Matt.
Hello, Kris.
How the heck are you?
I'm good. How's everything?
Pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, had a mortgage conversation before this phone call, and it actually went well. So
the joys of being an adult.
Yeah, talk to somebody who's going to be able to, do something I want them to do and make my life ever so slightly easier.
That's impressive. It's really hard to come by nowadays.
It certainly is. But I tell you what's not hard to come by is F-Zero for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System.
Goodness.
It's actually a pretty common game, all things considered, and it's on Switch Online. It's very, very easy game to play these days, but it is the 30th anniversary of the game, as well as the 30th anniversary of the launch of the Super Nintendo itself, which is pretty darn exciting.
I have to agree.
We already did Super Mario World a while back, so this was kind of the other serious launch title. Right, we've already done Pilot Wings. We've already done Super Mario World. This is the other one, and it's a pretty different soundtrack. You know what I mean? It's different from the rest of the series, and we'll talk about it. You ready to roll?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, not roll. Hover, right? Because our hovercraft.
Correct.
Matt.
Yes.
Hit us with some history.
F-Zero was released 30 years ago in North America on August 23rd, 1991. It was one of a small handful of launch titles for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System designed to show off the exciting new technical abilities of Nintendo's fresh hardware. In particular, this game was a showpiece for a scaling and rotation technique made possible by Mode 7, one of the system's various modes that allowed programmers to take advantage of a number of features. The game itself was a lightning-fast futuristic racing game where touching the sides of the track caused serious damage, and falling off the course meant instant death. Its visuals left quite an impression, bolstered by the fact that the game itself was also rather fun to play. The game spawned a number of sequels over the years and even an anime series, but has since fallen on hard times. There hasn't been a new F-Zero release since 2004's F-Zero Climax for Game Boy Advance, which was only released in Japan. It remains one of Nintendo's most requested properties to be revived to this day.
The game's music was composed by Yumiko Kanki and Naoto Ishida. It's an unusual soundtrack when compared to what came after it. While the rest of the series went into a very hair metal direction, while this one has a more of a technological vibe. Yumiko Kanki has also written music for the until recently unreleased Star Fox 2, the Super Scope 6 pack-in cartridge, and ported the music for Tetris and Dr. Mario over to the Super NES. Naoto Ishida did sound design for the Super Game Boy, composed for one of F-Zero's sequels, Maximum Velocity, and did sound design for the BSX Satellaview add-on unit. So what is your history with this game?
So I had that friend that lived across the street, and he was one of the first people I knew that had the Super Nintendo. And a friend of mine also down the block had the Super Nintendo, and I can't remember which one of them had it, but at some point they both had it. And we would just, oh my god, we'd play it endlessly. And yeah, we were totally blown away. Like, look at the backgrounds, look at that, look at how this, look at that, and like, oh my god, it's breakneck speeds, and we just loved playing it. It was so much fun. We used to do weird tournaments, but I don't think this was one of them. We used to play things like Tecmo Super Bowl and have like bracket tournaments and things like that, and NBA Jam. We were kids, but that's what we were doing. And I feel like this should have been one of those games, but it wasn't. But I remember playing. I remember borrowing this and playing it just kind of nonstop. And I love. What I really loved, I think, most about it was the color palette to the game. Like, for some reason, I guess I agreed that the future was going to be very purple. So here we are in the future, and it's not very purple. So I'm a little disappointed, but what are you gonna do, right? But yeah, big fun. I remember just having a lot of fun, just wasting afternoons and evenings, just ripping down these courses and stuff.
Yeah, so we got a Super Nintendo pretty close to launch, and we got so it came with Super Mario World, and then it was like me and my sister each got to pick one game.
Nice.
Jess picked F-Zero, and I picked A Link to the Past, which wasn't out yet.
Mm-hmm.
So she got to take her game home, and I got to focus all of my attention on Mario World, which was fine by me. So I spent most of my time on Mario World, but Jess, she played the heck out of F-Zero, and then I got into it too. Like, I was kind of intimidated by it a little bit. Like, I tried playing it when she first got it, and I wasn't as good as her, so I was like, yeah, I'll stick to Super Mario World. But the more I watched her play it, the more I wanted to learn it too. So I spent more time with the game. I always picked the green car, the wild goose driven by Pico, and the visuals really blew me away on this one, because I spent a lot of time playing stuff like Rad Racer on the NES, and had seen stuff like Outrun in arcades, and this was a totally different feel. It moved so smoothly. It wasn't until later that I realized it wasn't actually moving in 3D. It was, the track was effectively one big sprite that they then scaled and rotated to make it look like you were racing around it over top of it. So it's a really awesome technique. We loved the way it was used in Pilot Wings too, but man, I spent a lot of time on F-Zero effectively mastering it to the best of my ability, and my sister and I, once I got the hang of the game, we started going back and forth trying to beat each other's times. I was almost never able to beat her times. She was way better at this one than I was, but I remember so specifically, I think it was one of the Sand Ocean levels where you went off the side of the course, and then there was another set of jumps off course in the shape of an arrow. So it was like this crazy shortcut that you could jump right off the side and then bounce and then land back on the course. That was one of the coolest things ever.
You say that and it's not really ringing any bells. A lot of the stuff that I keep thinking of is more I don't know how to explain it, because they weren't Metropolis, but that like futuristic stuff, like everything. Yeah. But everything had that heavy-handedness to it. So it was
very comic booky. Like all the art design in this was very like the instruction manual itself was.
I love that stuff. Yeah, that's cool. So great stuff in there.
I love the incredibly garish character designs. Like, they're super over the top. I love this game's look, and it was one of the weirder things about the F-Zero was a GX for GameCube. It was a phenomenal game that's way too hard for normal people to play. But they also went kind of all in on this very, not quite gritty, but very CG, rounded out cinematic sequences in between races and stuff for the story mode, which were pretty cool, incredibly weird. But if they were to do a new one, it should totally be comic book style. Like, that's what
like Beautiful Joe.
Yeah, like Beautiful Joe. Go complete cell shading with it. And make it would be so cool. Because Captain Falcon is just such a ridiculous character, and they've added so much to his personality in Smash Brothers over the years. And I love F-Zero. I want a new one. It doesn't even need to be something special, right? There was an interview at one point where they said, "Oh, we just haven't thought of anything, new and different to do with the series. It's a racing game. Make new tracks, make it run. That's all I want. I just want it to be a fun racing game.
Bring back the old tracks, revamp them. That's it. You're
do like a best of between, go to tracks, pull tracks from all the previous games. Do what you did with like the courses in Mario Kart. Just revisit them with modern technology and go to town. That's all you need to do. I don't need a new hook or anything like that. I just want F-Zero. But anyway, besides that, we're here to talk about the original game and its super cool soundtrack. So let's get to work. This high-octane racing game had some really chill menu music, and that's going to be the first song that we listen to. As a matter of fact, it's pretty short, and this is kind of the thing with a lot of Super Nintendo games, like first-party Super Nintendo games, especially relatively early on. You think about stuff like Pilot Wings, SimCity, this, even the original Super Mario Kart. Like, they all have these really nice, catchy, super chill menu themes. So before we get to the actual races, let's go ahead and listen to Select Time Theme, which is a nice calming piece. Enjoy. And that is our Select Time theme. Very elevator hold music, but also very pleasant.
It gives me like this idea in my head of a Cloud City. Like but you know, it's oh man, sorry, I have like 4 things I want to say and they all try and come out at once. Okay, so a Cloud City, and it makes me think of like, it definitely makes me think of like pixel art Cloud City too. And at the same time, it also makes me reminiscent for the SimCity music. It's got that same vibe to it, I guess. Maybe that's what it is for me. But anyway, I think it's great. I like that. I could totally listen to that for a little while. Like, well, I don't know, filling out paperwork or doing bills or something. I don't know. Like, I'm I got to pay the rent. It would probably make me hate paying my bill less if I had that, playing in the background.
Very like I'm in a Cloud City, but I'm waiting for an ATM to process my purchase or something.
Yeah. Yeah, right. All right, you're on a people mover through a Cloud City somewhere, just waiting. Like, I gotta take out the roast and then go to. Oh, here I am.
It's a very, very pleasant tune.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, with that behind us, let's get to the real business. Now we're going to get to the songs that people know, the songs that you think of when you think F-Zero. And particularly these next 2 tracks are the ones that were reprised in the, quite frankly, absurdly successful Mario Kart 8. They have 2 F-Zero tracks in the Mario Kart 8, so a lot of people have heard the fancy new versions of these songs, but these are the originals. And we'll start at the start, the first level of all 3 flavors of all 3 types of track sets in F-Zero. Mute City. This is the futuristic city that you race over. This is one of the tracks that's reprised in, I think, every F-Zero game to some degree. Granted, I haven't played all the Game Boy Advance ones, but regardless, Mute City. This is the F-Zero track. Let's give it a listen. Enjoy. Mute City, and boy, do I love that tune. I love the way it starts. That it's I'm trying to how to put this in the words. The big, like, the bass note, the doom doom, that note that kind of is carrying the beginning of it. It doesn't quite match up with, like, the bass that's kind of playing underneath it. Almost like, seems like it comes in like a eighth of a beat sooner. It gives it this really weird echoey effect almost in the bass of it, and makes everything sound really, really, really deep for the beginning of the song. Like, it's got an incredible depth. And one of the things I love so much about doing an episode like this, and this soundtrack in particular, is that I've said it tons of times before, I used to, like, hold microphones up to my TV screen, and, like, that's how I'd record the music. But these songs you could never really hear properly. Well, I guess you could if you paused it, but there would always be like that little bit in the beginning, like you always hear the sounds of the cars running the whole time. So really listening to these songs unencumbered is always a fun experience for me.
So what you were saying about the beginning, that intro, I think it's the perfect track to start a race, because most video games that do racing, you always have the green light. You have to wait for the countdown, and I feel like that's the perfect kind of, like, get you going music to get you ready for that countdown to take off and try and take over first, and I think it's fantastic. I really do, like you said, like that big bass, that boom, boom. Like, it's great because the counterpart to it is this synthy, very, like, if it were a guitar, it'd be like, you can imagine some kind of, like, heavy chunk to it, dun, 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 dun. And then that bass just giving you kind of for lack of a better term, to giving it kind of a melody to kind of, like, it's like when I feel like when people listen to heavy metal and stuff, there's a lot of different tempos going on to create the overall sound picture. And so I personally like to find the tempo that's not so blatant, like like, yeah, okay, that's straightforward. You get it. It's going to be, probably 4 on the floor and just go forward. But that bass gives you the ability to kind of, like, slow nod, like, ooh, yeah, all right, this is pretty dirty. I like it. So, yeah, this is if you ask me, this is a great opening track to any racing game, period.
Yeah, definitely agree with you there. Made a great first impression for a proper race. And because you had the title screen music, which we opened the episode with, but it was a pretty straightforward thing, and you got to see some of the racing there. But this was when you really got your hands on it. Once you finally get your hands on the racing, in this such an intense tune, and then once the drums kick in, and it's all very high fidelity. You know what I mean? None of it sounds super compressed. It's a really, really nice sounding soundtrack. So. Well, then let's move on to probably the second most well-known track in all of F-Zero, and that is the music from Big Blue. This was also reprised in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the Switch, which approximately 85 trillion people have now played. The game has sold a frankly insulting number of copies. It's just you just look at it and say, how dare you? But no, this is a great tune, and let's listen to it. Here's Big Blue from F-Zero. Enjoy. was Big Blue. A cool song. I'm rather fond of the, or I guess guitar solo kind of thing they got cooking on there. Like I just love how nuts the main melody seems to get towards the end of the loop there. And it's good high energy tune, very memorable. Like it.
This is I don't know. This has got to be like one of my favorites. Period. It's just such high energy. It's so perfect for a racing game. I mean, you can hear this in other games too, but like this one just crushes for this game. Yeah, the leads, just there's like 2 or 3 different leads in this that like one is better than the other one, and like how's that even possible? I even love like when it breaks away and it's just kind of the snare and kick, and it's the hits, you know, bam, 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 you know, like that's great. You're just like playing with dynamic, giving the song, you know, dimension, and then just kind of ripping right back into that main chunk. It's great. It's just I don't know, that I can't think of more words to just talk about how good it is.
Yeah,
it's just so stupendous. Like I actually have it playing while I'm talking about it. It's like so super low, and I'm just that like synthesizer. Excuse me. That synthesizer lead is just so cool. Like, you know, some dude was just jamming hard on that little modulation bar that's on all keyboards and stuff. Wow, but it came out great. It's like there's like nothing cheesy about it. It's like the perfect level of like synthesizer rocking.
Yeah, it's great. It does it. It absolutely rocks, but without attempting to make anything sound like a guitar. Like it's very electronic sounding, but it also has a lot of guitar solo sensibilities, you know?
Right, because a lot of those synthesized guitars sounded like trash.
Yeah.
You the first time you heard it, you're like, don't, why'd you bother? You didn't even, don't. You're insulting my intelligence by doing that. So yeah, like fantastic. They did a great job.
All right, so let's pick up on our next track. We're heading over to the Sand Ocean. Is it wet? Is it dry? Let's find out. Here's Sand Ocean. Enjoy. Sand Ocean, and what a cool change up that is, huh?
It really is. Again, a lot of these games are great in that it keeps the intensity. So it's another track that is, kind of pulse pounding for racing. it locks in with the speed at which the game feels like it's going, which, you know, again, through Mode 7 and a lot of little other tiny tricks, you know, you really feel like you're doing like Mach 1 or something on some of these levels. Mm-hmm. So it was, you know, sheer brilliance to marry these two, to create these, you know, pulse pounding pieces to put into the game. I couldn't think of another P word, sorry.
I was just wondering if are you still trying to think of a P word?
No, I'm long done. I'm over that. I mean, I am, but I'm not gonna make the audience sit and listen to me him and haw and think about that. I might come up with it in an hour at the end where I go, oh, this is
preposterous.
I mean, I could come up with a ton of other P words, but none of them are equal to, you know, level or game or to put into the product. There we go.
Boom, nailed it.
I'm sorry you all came with me on that journey. I cannot give you that time back, but
it was a good trip. I like the scenery. It was great.
I do appreciate you all. Please stop me from babbling.
I love how this is in like what time signature is that, like 6/8 or something? Like,
oh boy, I have no idea.
It's a weird one. It definitely is not just a straight 4/4 rhythm, which is super cool, and it's got this like really really fast drums going on underneath, like really laying it down deep in the mix there. It's a super cool piece of music. I don't know what to say. Like it a lot.
There you go. That's all you need to say.
So let's move on.
Yes.
Let's move on to a track name that I've been described as Deathwind. I loved this track because this has like this really nasty wind blowing after the whole time you're playing it. So it's like, oh, this track's just an oval. This will be fine. But then the wind starts blowing you all over the place, and it's actually a pretty tough track. And I also liked it because it was very green, and green was my favorite color when I was a kid.
There you have it.
There you have it. And here's Deathwind. Enjoy. There is Deathwind. That's an interesting tune, huh? Like, there's not a lot of music going on there. It's just really like a pretty straightforward bass line and a whole lot of percussion.
Yeah, it feels a lot more like something I would kind of listen to musically from, you know, like weird avant-garde industrial acts out of Germany or something. I dig it, though. I definitely dig it.
I like how much it messes with stereo sound, like it's panning all over the place. It's a really, really good track for this track. Just because it works. Like, it's not that complicated of a tune, but it's very chaotic, which is exactly what this track is. It's not a complicated track, but it's pure chaos because of the wind, which is blowing throughout the entire track. It's a good one. It's very, very memorable. It's somehow catchy without having any sort of real hook to it. It's pretty impressive.
How you did that? Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is called Silence, which is anything but. I can't say I've ever really understood this, like, why this stage was called Silence. This is a really cool song. I love this song. I love this track. But it's not quiet. So let's give it a listen. Here's Silence. Enjoy. So that was Silence. What'd you think of that one?
It still somehow manages to keep that pace of I was talking about earlier about racing game soundtracks and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's definitely different. It falls away differently from some of the other pieces we've heard and some other stuff on the soundtrack, but not necessarily in a bad way at all. Like I don't mean to be saying it that way.
No, it is definitely less. I don't know if less abrasive's the right word, but it's
intense.
Far more. Yeah, it's less intense. It's far more pleasant than the other tunes we've listened to.
Yeah, definitely. It's it's not as abrasive. I do think those horns are a little intrusive, but other than that, I think it's another solid track.
Yeah, I like the little hi-hat they got going on over the beginning. It's got the weird, I guess, vibrato vibraphone, whatever's happening, whatever instrument choice there was for the beginning of it, is a very elevator music kind of thing, kind of like that the Select Time theme we listened to right at the beginning of the episode, and it's got a weird, like, almost calming sound to it. But the song is not calming at all. It's very driving.
No.
It's very, up tempo, as it were. No, it's a neat tune. This one's always kind of stuck with me. Silence was a really cool looking area. Not sure if it was. Now I'm like drawing a weird disconnect between this and Port Town, because they were both very purple, I think. But either way, good stuff. So let's head on down to Red Canyon. This is another one of my favorite tunes. As a matter of fact, this track in particular was what I was thinking of before. It wasn't the Sand Ocean stage with the arrow. I think it was Red Canyon. And I think it was Red Canyon 2 in particular that had that jump that we went right off the side of the stage, land on the arrow, and land back on it. It was super cool. And this is a really fun song. This has got a really good bass line. So let's give it a listen. Here is Red Canyon. Enjoy. That bass line rules. I love that bass line. This it's almost like the song itself doesn't matter. Like the main hook of it's pretty neat. Yeah, it's fine, but it's that bass line that just brings the whole thing together for me. I love it.
I will agree with you. I thought that was a pretty sick track, honestly.
Where everything drops except the kick drum. Everything.
I mean, I'm such a big fan of that dynamic trick. You know, if a band does that in real life, I'm like, I'm your fan now. But it's important. Dynamic. Yeah, where do I sign? Where can I get all your discography on vinyl, even though I don't have a vinyl player, sir or madam? Thank you. But I'm a big fan of dynamic. I think it's very important. You know, and maybe not so much in a racing game where, you know, it's literal pedal to the metal and you just from start to finish you're just going. But even still, that stuff's kind of important. You give the players some kind of something, reward them a little bit, and this is no shortage of rewards there. Like, that's great. The percussions are friggin-tastic. Mm-hmm. And yeah, what I like more about the bass itself, like its composition, is the actual tone chosen. Yeah. Like it's a nice kind of funk tone that and it cuts through the whole mix and it works so freaking well.
Agreed. Yeah, this is a really fun track, really fun race. So let's keep going. Let's race on to the next one.
Wow!
I can only use that joke once.
You will try to do it as many times as possible, though, I guarantee.
All right, so this next one is one of the only songs of the game that has multiple versions in it. Whiteland and Whiteland 2 both have different versions of this song. I chose the Whiteland 1 version because I think it's better than the Whiteland 2 one. They're both pretty similar, but Whiteland 2's got some weird clicky percussion going on. It's a strange track, but this is also a pretty strange track. They're pretty fun. Whiteland 1. I can't remember. Did we cover this in one of our winter specials, maybe?
Oh, I have no idea. I can barely remember yesterday.
Either way, here's Whiteland 1. Enjoy. right, that was Whiteland 1 from F-Zero, and to put the question to rest, Whiteland, we listened to the version of Whiteland that was in Stunt Race FX, which is a completely different song.
Aha!
But also made by Nintendo. And I had written down this song to be included in this year's Winter Special last year. So now that we're doing this episode in August, I think I'll just put Whiteland 2 in the Winter Special. There you go.
There's
your
what
preview.
will we ever do?
I'm looking at the list of like songs for the next. I just threw down a couple of tracks that I came up with last year that didn't make the cut for the last episode. I was like, oh, okay, all right, cool. There it is. So I got
Right
three tracks picked out for next year already.
Man, you're a monster.
Yeah, I'm ready.
You're just all kind. You're like a Boy Scout, always prepared.
Well, yeah, 3 tracks in for the winter. Nothing picked out for the spooky special at all. So
not even. Nope. I can't even fathom that right now.
That's October. I gotta make it through Metroid. All right, Metroid Dread's happening beginning of October. I can't
wait for that. I am so excited.
Yeah, dude. Anyway, speaking of this song, though, it's a fast-paced tune. It's got a really good driving rhythm to it. I rather like this one. It's got a lot of weirdness in it. There's a lot of like like little kind of drones going on, little bendiness to the instruments, but it definitely has a Frozen feeling to it, but also very fast and just a little offbeat. I like it.
Yeah, there's a lot of like, again, I'm listening to it very lowly in the background, and I'm really big in this one. I like this one a lot. There's just first of all, the very intro to it, the trilly little harmony notes are just great. I don't know. I feel like when I hear that, oh, we're in for something now. You know what I mean? Like, here it comes. And like the main, if this were like a song with lyrics and stuff, like I feel like the verse part is good. It might even be kind of the weakest part, but then like once they introduce that secondary melody, the like it just takes it to a whole new level of like awesome. And I just think like this goes back to what I was talking about before about having a soundtrack that pairs well with its game. You said it's fast paced. It keeps in rhythm, or it keeps on theme, on brands, if you will, with the idea of a racing game, and it's great.
Yeah, it's a really fun, wintry, and man, these tracks were so hectic because these ones, I feel like it's, if I remember correctly, these you play back to back, Whiteland and Whiteland 2, which is weird, and they both involve like crazy hard jumps that come right after turns, and if you mess up on a jump, you're toast. That's it. Your race is done. So you got to get up enough speed to make it over these jumps that actually just like there's a gap in the course between you and the other end. And man, I remember these levels being particularly stressful.
Yeah, I hate and I love stuff like that. Like things that, like one video game really sticks out of my mind is that there's a level in God of War, the original, that I must have played 1,000 times because I kept dying on it. And there's a lot of these little moments in video game history for me. And there are certainly some that exist in racing games where I'm just like, oh, I keep coming in second, or like, oh, I can't make it past this jump, or this turn keeps wiping me, But that's what makes gaming fun for me, is like consistently getting battered by the ocean and then finally conquering it. Like, stick it in your pipe and you smoke it, stupid ocean. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about anymore. Please take over. Jesus, take the wheel.
All right, let's take the wheel and drive it on over to Port Town.
Oh, yeah!
So here's Port Town.
I hate this show. No, I'm just kidding. I love this show.
There was an episode of Syphil and Ollie where like just one of the sketches started with Syphil going, "Oh God, I hate this show."
You're like, oh, okay, it's gonna be that kind of episode.
All right, so let's listen to Port Town. There was a Port Town, there was a Port Town 2. They both have the same music. I'm pretty sure you played Port Town 2 before you played Port Town 1. Again, one of the weird idiosyncrasies of F-Zero. Anyway, here's Port Town. Enjoy. another high anxiety song for me, because there's one particular turn in this track that's like this really nasty U-turn, and it took me a long time to get good enough at making that turn.
Oh, that nasty hairpin. I know exactly what you're talking about. I hate any racing game that thinks it's cool to throw in a hairpin turn. Like, who are you? Stop.
How dare you?
This game's supposed to be fun.
That thing comes out of nowhere. It's
and then it goes nowhere. You're like, what the?
Now I'm just going back the other way. What's wrong with you? Tune itself, very cool. I like the song. Again, just it's so tied to that specific hairpin turn in my head.
You'll never get away from it.
The song itself's a lot of fun. I like how there's like kind of an echo going on to the bass drum itself. It's got a good driving rhythm, and it's a pretty memorable song.
Yeah, I mean, I can't refute you on any of that. That bass line is the driving force behind it. As is, I mean, bass lines are usually the driving force behind a lot of stuff that's not running parallel to its guitar counterpart or what have you. But in this case, it's certainly like that bass line is right out front. Again, it's mixed. These tracks are mixed so well that everything sits in its own proper place. Nothing is overshadowing anything else. Even when you have these great melodies playing on the, I don't know, I guess on top, if you want to, see it in your mind's eye. Even those melodies that are playing on top, they don't, they don't take away from this driving bass line and the percussions and stuff. And I think that's, I personally think that's probably one of the best things about this soundtrack so far, is that everything has its place and you could hear it all equally, and it just comes together so well.
Yeah, it's much like this entire soundtrack is rather masterful. I love it. Well, for lack of anything else to say about Port Town, it's time to get to our last track, which is Firefield. This is the nightmare course. This is the one that's just super difficult, and there's fire everywhere, and because it's Firefield, it's very aptly named. So it's fun, it's cool, and this is probably the most. I'm trying to remember exactly how this tune goes. I think this is one of the more angry sounding songs on the soundtrack.
Yay!
Like the bass line, it's like the bass instrument just sounds mad at you. So so let's give it a listen. Here's Firefield. Enjoy. you go. Firefield. See what I mean? That bass just seems angry at me.
I don't even know what to say to that. Yeah. Okay. I can't get past that. I think I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it's such a great piece of music. I'm listening to it under my talking, and just another track again that's, you know, driving, how ironic for a driving game, and it's got the pulse pounding, which, you know, I'm sure is, I don't remember, you know, playing it back then, but I can only imagine if I was hearing this, I'd be like, yeah, we're going 1,000 miles per hour, king of the world, you know, the Mode 7 graphics on my little, you know, 19-inch color TV, you know, trying to keep up. There's like a pseudo, I don't know what you want to call it, like a pseudo stringed instrument, and like it's very clearly synthesizer, but it works so freaking well. Like, again, going back to what we were saying before, it's like it's not cheesy at all. It knows exactly what it's doing and knows exactly what it is. It's like perfect selection, perfect instrumentation selection. Like, I love it.
Yeah, I completely agree with pretty much everything you're saying. It's very appropriately intense for this particular stage, which is like, you know, here's your big finale. So of course it's a unique level. It's got unique music to the rest of the game, and it's very fun. It's very fun to hear, but it's also nice and appropriately stressful and whatnot. It's a good tune. It's a great tune even. I love it.
Yes. Sorry, I didn't know what else to say.
Yeah, I'm kind of stupided out today, and my brain's all floating in a jar right now over on the other side of the room. No
Is it
idea
labeled Abby Normal?
It is. How did you know?
Wow. I put it there.
Oh my goodness. Well, that kind of wraps things up on F-Zero. That's a wrap on the F-Zero. This was a fun one. Good high energy way to spend my afternoon. I'll just finish up here and get it edited and out to you folks as soon as I humanly can. Any final thoughts before I close things out?
Apart from the fact that, like, I never really realized how much I needed a new F-Zero in my life. So, like, if anyone listening to this has any kind of anything to get that made, like, just do it. Like we said before, you don't have to make anything special. Just beef it back up and just make it the same game. Like, and I can't even imagine what it would be like now with modern console graphics and, like, the processing power. Like, you'd probably actually genuinely be going like Mach 1. And that just excites me.
That's the thing, when you say it doesn't have to be anything special, that would be something special. F-Zero itself is inherently special. So
correct.
Just do that. It's just like Star Fox. Just do Star Fox. You don't need to make it a whole big just do Star Fox. That's all I want.
Yeah, don't reinvent the wheel.
Yeah. You have plenty of other franchises that you could reinvent the wheel on, up, down, backwards, and forwards. Nintendo reinvents wheels all the time. But sometimes they do, like, their Mario Karts. They're not drastically different from one to the other, and that's fine. Just do that again. Give me more.
Or just give me this.
Just give me this. Or give me death.
Yeah.
In that order. Anyway, let's... That's going to wrap it up. That is it for us today. Join us next time. This is going to be an interesting one. Join us next time for more anniversary goodness. This is our year of anniversaries. As we dive into a death
okay.
worth...
Okay.
As we dive into a game that I'm pretty sure neither one of us is familiar with at all. It's time for the 25th anniversary of the original Crash Bandicoot for PlayStation.
Aha! That's where you're wrong, Christopher.
Oh, you are a Crash Bandicoot aficionado.
Oh, okay, maybe you aren't wrong. I've played Crash Bandicoot 1 from start to finish, and we will talk about it when that time comes.
Oh, I am genuinely interested to hear your thoughts on it, because
this may be the only time that I don't pick a game that I can talk about it.
That's pretty exciting. I have played, the only Crash Bandicoot I've played is the first handful of levels in the new remake, the Insane Trilogy. So I've played some of the first one and stopped because it was not fun. So I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on the original Crash Bandicoot and where it goes from where I left off. So yeah, hooray!
Okay.
That's pretty fun.
Interesting.
All right. We here at the WaveBack podcast are incredibly grateful to everyone who listens, and we love communicating with you when we can. We have a couple of ways you can do that. There's the Geekade Discord channel, in which we have a WaveBack chat where we frequently discuss all manner of stuff relating to video game music and whatever our next episodes are going to be. We also have a WaveBack forum page over on Facebook, which you can find by searching WaveBack on Facebook. Of course, you can always still send us an email at mail@geekade.com, and while you're at it, check out all our social media channels, which you should totally follow, like, and subscribe to if you haven't already. And be sure to check out all the other great content we have on our site over at geekade.com. Let's see. Endless D&D.
Yeah, we're still there.
Awesome.
It's still there. And the world's longest one-shot.
Yep.
Still there. Still waiting to have that big fight. Life happens, and everybody in the game, it's summertime. We started to get back to normal, and, some people went and made some plans, and there's birthdays, and that's life. So, at the current moment, I'm not entirely sure when we're going to be back, but we will be back because we have a giant fight, and we're probably all going to die still, because that doesn't change. I look forward to seeing you guys on our Twitch channel. That's twitch.tv/geekade. Saturdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard.
Awesome. And I will promote the new issue of Nintendo Force magazine. I write for Nintendo Force magazine. It's a physical magazine. It gets mailed out to your house. Check out nintendoforcemagazine.com. Find ways to subscribe. It's pretty inexpensive. It's like $5 an issue. Each issue comes with a poster, and this new issue that just came out, or is just coming out, I interviewed Kevin Eastman because it's a
What?
Yeah! It's a Ninja Turtles themed issue. It comes with a Ninja Turtles poster for the new Shredder's Revenge game, and I got to interview Kevin Eastman for the magazine, and it's in there. It's super cool. I also reviewed Blaster Master 03 and Ninja Gaiden Master Collection, and I got to do a couple of write-ups on Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game for NES, and Turtles 3 Radical Rescue for Game Boy. This issue is going to be nuts, and the interview was super fun, and it's exclusive to this magazine, so go check out nintendoforcemagazine.com.
That's freaking cool as hell, man.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the highlights of my, career. It's
your journalistic career.
Yeah. All right, we're going to leave you tonight with the ending theme from F-Zero. You may recognize this tune if you've played the F-Zero courses in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because you probably have, because at this stage in the game, I'm pretty sure more people on the planet have played that game than haven't. It just continues to sell insanely well. But it's a fun little tune, great little celebratory. You finished the race and you're still alive. Have fun kind of a tune, and we'll see you next time for some Crash Bandicoot. Have a good one.